As most of us we know that Bible was not written in the English language. Old Testament was mostly written in the Hebrew language, but some passages and Bible verses were written in Aramaic language. On the other hand, in the New Testament time, where most of the people, including Jesus and his disciples, they spoke Aramaic. However, when the New Testament writings were written, they were written in the Greek language, because Greek was the international language of the Roman Empire at that time. None of the original writing of the Old Testament and New Testament, they still exist today, because they have been lost to war, fire and other causes, but they were copied and recopied many times by hand. That's why we have variation among the original Bible manuscripts. In AD 405, Old Testament and New Testament were translated into Latin language, because Latin was replaced by instead of Greek as a language of the Roman Empire. In 1384, John Wycliffe translated both Old and New Testament into English, and that was the first English translation of full Bible. Since then, we have many translation of English Bible. And the most common question is asked always, that which translation or Bible version is the best? Now this question is very confusing and very difficult to answer, because each translation has its own strength and its own weaknesses. But before we give our recommendation to you that which translation is the best, there are some misconception and misunderstanding. Because some people, they think that King James version is the most accurate and only authentic English version of the Bible, and many people believe that the King James translator, those who used the original manuscript, they were preserved by God. But in many cases this is not true. The 47 scholars who translated King James Bible, they did excellent job, and it's a very good translation, but it's not the best translation available. The most common problem with the King James Bible is that it was translated in 1611. It means the English used in the King James Bible was 400 years old. Vocabulary has been changed, pronouns, verbs and tense has been changed, and there are many words which used in the King James Bible that time. Most of the people in our time, we don't use those words, and the words is that many words which used in the King James Bible, in that time they had a different meaning, and in our time these words have different meaning. For example, the word charity used in the King James Bible for love, because that time the word love and charity were similar, but in our time now we don't use the word charity for love. The most common problem with the King James Bible is that the most of non-native English speaker like me, we have difficulty to understand this English. But if you are a native English speaker and if you can read and understand this Bible, you can keep reading. It's a good translation. And still, if you want to stay to the King James camp, and if you want a little bit something which is understandable, then New King James Version is our recommendation. However, still people have another misconception and confusion regarding choosing the new translation. For example, some people think that in modern translation there are some Bible verses which are not present in the modern translation, which are present in King James Bible. For example, the Lord's Prayer in Matthew 6:13, which ends like, "For thine is the kingdom and glory forever, amen." This doxology is not present in most of the modern translation. So people think that these verses has been omitted from this translation, but that's not the case. They are not present in the modern translation because they are not found in the original manuscripts which are available now. So it could be possible that in the olden times, when people, they read the manuscript and according to their worship style, they added this extra doxologies, but when they recopy the manuscript, they did not mention it that this was added extra. Another misconception which people have for choosing the modern translation, because they think that the neutral gender language has been used, or the language of gender inclusive. For example, King James translate Romans chapter 3 verse 28, "A man shall justify by faith," but modern translation they translate it, "A person shall justify by faith." So in the King James Bible, because in that time when King James Bible was written, the masculine form was used as a generic form for the humanity. For example, a man, he or him was used as a generic form for all humanity. But in our time now, for example, in Romans 3:28, when in the original language, in the Greek, it is written like, a person shall justify by faith, not man, because Bible was not written only for men, but it was written for both man and woman. So there is nothing to fear about. Modern translations are try to be more accurate to the original language than to prepare for the popular reading. So here are our recommendation, which are the best translation which you can choose. Before you choose the best translation, there are two types of translation which are found in our time. One are paraphrase, which are very easy to read, but they are very far from the original writings. On the other hand, we have a Bibles which are very close to original writing, but they are difficult to understand, like King James Bible. So you need to choose a translation which try to be in the middle. So here are our recommendation, which try to be justify and stay in the middle. If you want to choose something which is easy to read, which is written in the modern English, then it's called Common English Bible, published in 2011. The CEB combines a commitment to both accuracy and readability. But if you want to stay more to the original writing, then English Standard Version, published in 2001, the ECB attempts to a literal yet up-to-date translation. It is available in several digital forms. But if you want to be more of the original side, then we have New American Standard Bible, published in 1971, revised in 1996. The NACB uses formal but clear English. There are abundant notes and reference. And the New Revised Standard Version is also a very wonderful version. A committee of scholars was completed in 1989. It incorporates discovery and research not included in the RSV and uses inclusive language. Now, if you are a Catholic, then you can use New American Bible, which is the official Bible of the Catholic Church. If your native language is not English and is other than English, try to find a Bible translation which attempt to be true to the original language rather than which is prepared for the popular reading. The more you will go far from the original language, the less original meaning you will get.